Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm John here from Wild Boar Cycling. Let's have an honest conversation right now. I just got back from a 70-mile training ride and I had a flat. I don't know about you, but I don't like flats. But what we're going to have an honest conversation about is what's in your tire. What's in your tire? Sit back. Okay, folks, so I am out on a 70-mile training ride today, and at about the 20-some mile mark, my rear tire starts getting really soft. Now, you've heard me talk about my road bike and how I'm really not a fan of having a tubeless setup. I use back there latex. And if you look at some of the rolling resistance data, you'll see that latex is just as efficient as having a tubeless setup. So, but in my saddlebag for my repair, I was carrying a TPU tube. Now, let's take that out and take a peek at what that looks like. As you've heard me talk about before, I really like carrying the TPU tubes as my backup because they are so small and they fold up nice and neat, and you can really put a lot in there compared to maybe a butyl tube or a latex tube. I personally like the latex, but I was really unsure about the TPU tubes. What I want to do is I'm going to pull my wheel off here, and now I've got about 50 miles on that TPU tube, and I just want to see what that looks like and see how well it's going to hold up over a long haul. Normally I keep that in there as my backup and my get me home tube. Hang on. One of the first things, and maybe I should do a separate episode on this about removing a wheel, especially the rear wheel, is to make sure you're in the small chain ring up front and the smallest cog possible in the back. Now, you know, with the SRAM axis system, you can't get all the way out there because it's going to stop you. So, but I've got it all the way out there to the next to the last cog. I'm going to swing around the other side and drop this wheel out of its spot. Okay, I've got the wheel removed. Let's go over here and take a look and see how this TPU worked on the way home after about 50 miles. So my first impression with the TPU tube, I was out on the side of the road and I'm putting this thing in, and I've never used one of these before, I'll be quite honest with you. And when I used my CO2 cartridge to pump it up, I had it pumped up pretty firm. And now that I'm back here after 50 miles, I can tell by squeezing it, it's lost a lot of air. Now, I don't know, that could be my error when I put use my CO2 cartridge to inflate it. But what I really want to do is I want to pull this thing out and take a look at it and see how it worked. All right, let's see how this TPU tube fared. Interesting setup here because let's scoot in here nice and close. You can see that the stem is actually made out of plastic also. One of my tricks for pulling a tube off and pulling a tire out on the side of the road is I always like to start by loosening the tire opposite of the stem. I pop that loose and just work my fingers all the way around to make sure it's free of the hook on the inside of the rim. And the reason I start on the opposite side of the stem is that just eliminates a whole lot of stuff going on here, where your stem is up in here and is blocking maybe how you get that tube out. And so once I've wrestled that bead off a little bit and got one part of the tire started, I can take my tire iron and just kind of run it around and loosen it all the way up. Just going to remove the one side for right now because I just want to pull this tube out to show you what, guys, to show you all what I'm talking about, what's inside of here. Now, if you peek in here real carefully, you can see that pink TPU tube that I use I call it my Get Me Home patch. But wow, I think it ran pretty well for 50 miles, but let's take it all the way out and see how it really wore. There we go. And I got the stem to clear. So this is the TPU tube that I took out on the ride today to repair my flat. And you can see how, gosh, when this is all folded up, it is so small. One of the things I was concerned about is the plastic here that's part of the stem. And it looks like there's just a little bit of wear on here. I'm not sure if that comes from my deep dish rims or if that's just part of the way it goes. If I compare that to what I took out, and this is really probably my favorite type of tube, is the latex. The latex tube has a metal stem to it, a little more substantial. And also extremely lightweight. This is going to weigh about 36 grams. This is TPU tube is what makes 32. Compare that with a butyl tube. Wow, there's a whole lot of weight savings. And what I've also noticed, since we're having an honest conversation right now, is I can run a pretty low tire pressure on this latex tube. One of the things I want to do right now before I put this all back together is I'm going to look real carefully at this tire to make sure I don't have anything left embedded inside of it. So right now I'm kind of feeling on the inside of the tire to make sure I haven't missed something. I'm pretty sure that I pulled it. It was just the tiniest piece of a staple, little sliver of metal. And while I'm looking at my tire, I'm thinking, gosh, yeah, this has 5,000, 6,000 miles on it. And I'm noticing on this rear tire a lot of cuts that are almost all the way through. So I'm thinking while I'm doing this work right now, I just might as well go ahead and replace these so I have a fresh set of rubber on my bike for the season that's going to start here very soon. Because I definitely don't want to be out there fixing a flat like today and then having to chase to catch back up with the group that I was riding with. Okay. Okay, everyone, there you have it. You have really 4 choices of what's in your tire. You can go with your tubeless setup, and you've heard me talk many times how I do like the tubeless setup for my gravel bike and my mountain bike. It helps me run some really low pressure, but I have not been a big fan of that on my road bike because of the setup and then because of what happens if I'm out on a ride and I got to put a tube in. Typically, if I'm out on my gravel bike, you know, those kind of repairs are easier to do. So let's look at compare and contrast about which one of these is better for you. I don't know. I like the latex, 36 grams, metal stem. I can't tell the difference between running this tube and a tubeless setup. I use the TPU tube as my get home. Seemed like it worked really well today, although I do notice some chafing around the stem on this particular design. I'm not sure I would ride this all the time, but it certainly worked today. It got me 50 miles home, and I did lose some air. but I'm not sure if I did that because when I set it up with my thing. And folks, here we are, 2025. Not a lot of folks out there running butyl anymore. These are super heavy, and also you can't have the lower air pressure that we like to ride and use nowadays. So I hope this was kind of helpful. Sorry I didn't clean up after my ride to talk to y'all, but it was just on my mind. I'm thinking, oh man, I want to talk about this right now before I do anything else. So, hey, if it was helpful, make sure you smash that subscribe button, like, and notify so you know when our next production is coming available. In the meantime, go out and ride, have fun. Hope you don't have a flat, and keep the rubber side down. Bye, y'all.